Vegas is listing them at 54.5 wins as a result. So, is this too high or too low?
I think this is a little too high. I just need to see Kawhi Leonard come back healthy, first of all. We don't know about Nick Nurse, the new first-time head coach, how he's going to do. Kyle Lowry's my guy, but this is another year added on to him. And look, he's used to playing with his best friend, DeMar DeRozan. There's going to be an adjustment. And then I got the Sixers being better than the Raptors. So I think this is a little high for Toronto.
I think it's just about right, and they should be higher than this actually in terms of talent. Like Kawhi Leonard is top 2, top 3 in the league.
Yeah, if he's healthy, and he has a lot of reasons to prove that he's top 2, top 3 in the league this season.
The question is, where's their spirit going to be? I mean, we saw the impact that taking DeRozan off this team had. Chris did this incredible interview with him.
Their spirit was in their bench last year.
All of he expressed all of the hate and the hurt that he felt after getting traded. That affected the rest of the team, too. But look, you got Danny Green and Kawhi Leonard, who are both great defensive players. That should upgrade their starting unit and their defense. They should be better this year. But Nick Nurse has a big job to do, and that's getting all those guys swimming on the same team now.
I think it's just about right, so y'all can take that out there.
The Haynes line.
Okay. But I will say this, Ramona, you guys remember when Kawhi was coming into his own as a player, and there were some players questioning, is it the system or is he really developing to a legit talent? And so I want to see if that same skill set, everything he provided, because he was a top 5 player over in San Antonio, will that translate over? Kawhi didn't have to break defenders down. He didn't have to handle the ball a lot in San Antonio. He may be asked to do a lot of that in Toronto. Can he do that at a high level? And so that's what I want to see, but I think that's solid. 54.
I think he'll do that. Ramona, you touched on a great point, which is the chemistry of this team. And as I mentioned, Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan, his BFF for so long. How is this all going to mix? And Kawhi is not exactly the most talkative guy. So how is he going to mesh into that locker room? Because you're right, initially there's going to be a lot of hurt feelings. It's not like he's a charismatic guy that's going to be able to come in and immediately win our locker room. He's going to have to win him over with his play.
You remember the Manu Ginobili quote from last year, which is like, when you're not around, part of being part of the team is just being there, being in on all the jokes, being in there, all the practices and everything that everybody's going through. He didn't have that recognition that he needed to be there as a leader on that team no matter what. Now, some of that could be just his feeling about the organization and he didn't want to be there, but those are still your teammates.
Yeah.
There's a way to separate your teammates from the organization, and he wasn't able to do that in San Antonio.
Yeah, and the Raptors, they had combo leaders in DeMar and Kyle Lowry.
And it's not like he was raising his hand saying, I want to be in Toronto.
Right. So as we're talking about DeMar DeRozan, on the other hand of the Kawhi trade, Spurs picked up DeRozan. Vegas is listing them at 43.5 wins, 9th in the West. If that holds up, the Spurs would miss the playoffs for the first time since 1998. And Chris, you interviewed DeRozan recently. Is that win total too high or too low?
That's too low right there. I don't see him missing.
It's disrespectful.
It is disrespectful. I mean, basically you're saying that Kawhi is leaps and bounds better than DeMar DeRozan.
But Kawhi didn't even play last year.
He played 9 games.
That's true. I forgot about that.
Kawhi didn't even play.
So basically you think no one is better than DeMar.
Yeah.
No, I think that's too low. And I understand why they do it, because when you look at the roster that the Spurs had last year, they shouldn't have won what they won last year.
Yeah.
No.
Right? I mean, but I think they probably overachieved.
The excuse of they're so old. But look, Tony Parker's no longer there. So I guess you could point to Pau Gasol. But the future is DeJounte Murray, is LaMarcus Aldridge, and is DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah, I think DeJounte has a chance to take a huge step forward now that he is really the guy there.
Yeah.
There's no question that he's the starting point guard. He is the guy. And LaMarcus Aldridge had, I voted him 5th in my MVP voting. That's how solid a season he had. And then DeRozan, who's angry and is going to want to prove that he is a good enough player. Like, he can step right into that spot that Kawhi filled. So I think that's too low. But I understand why, because if you look at them on paper, they don't look like they should have been as good as they were even last year.
I think it's too low. I think DeMar is going to be a great fit in the San Antonio system. And let's focus on Pop for a second here. Pop went through a lot at the end of last season. I think he's going to come back and be refocused. I think he's going to feel energized by the fact that he's got new guys. As much as he loved Tony Parker, I think he's going to look at this team and kind of feel like he has a lot to prove. I think that is way too low for the Spurs.
Does it go back to your whole philosophy that maybe Vegas just wants people to pay attention to the Spurs and bet on it? Because
Absolutely.
Otherwise, this is not new. There's not a lot of conversation around the Spurs outside of this the Kawhi drama. Maybe this is a number has us talking about the
They
Spurs.
want everyone to go run to Vegas and bet the over. Like you can tell that number right there says
Look,
go there and bet the over.
All those buildings
Go.
and hotels
That's how
didn't build
Vegas works.
themselves. They didn't build
Go.
themselves.